Hey everybody, this is Krulal. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate you how you could use the Lambda function to schedule your EC2 instance start time and stop time. So this is a really good practice. A lot of businesses adapt. They shut down their instances after like business hours and start them back in the morning. This is a good practice. It's going to help you save money too. So let's look into it. All right, so the first thing first, make sure you logged into your AWS account. I am. So the first thing we're going to do in this solution is applying the tags that will be used by Lambda function. So go to the resource group and tag editor service. In here, click on add tag editor, and select the region wherever your instances could be. So in my case, it's US East 1, so I have it selected. And the resource type, in my case, is going to be EC2 instance. Search the resources. All those resources in that region will prompt it up here. Select them, manage tag for selected instance resources, and here we're going to apply the tags. So in my case, I'm going to create a tags which the key is going to be hours and the value is going to be 926. So essentially you could have any of the values here, depending on whatever you prefer. Like, I don't know, this is just kind of like a random value for me. It's like a 9 to 6 business hours. Apply tags, apply it again. All right, the resources have the tags that the Lambda function will be using. So now I'm going to create a IAM role that will be used by Lambda function. So go to the IAM service, click on roles, create new role, AWS service as the trusted type service, and the use case, select Lambda, click next. And the Lambda role, this role needs at minimum 2 permissions. The first one is execution, so that the Lambda function is able to execute. And the second is that the Lambda function has permissions to shut down and start your instance whenever it gets executed. There's no policy available that will allow you to stop and start instances. So for this demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the policy that essentially gives you the full access to the EC2. So I'm going to select this one. And the other policy that we need is basic execution. All right. What I'm doing wrong here, maybe spelling errors here. So this is the AWS Lambda basic execution rule. I'm gonna select this one and come down here, click next, name the role. In my case, it's going to be EC2 scheduler. And create role. So now the role has been created. So now it's the time to create a Lambda function. So search for Lambda service, and this is something I already started, so I'm going to delete this one and create new one for this video. Deleting this one here, close, and go to quickly show you here. So once you're in the Lambda service, so select functions and click on create function. So this function that will be stopping my instances, I'm gonna call it stop function. The runtime, I'm using Python 3.9. Architecture, I'm gonna leave it default. And when it comes to default execution role, I'm going to select existing one, the one we just created not long ago, and this is the role we created, EC2 scheduler. Select this one, advanced setting, you could leave it default, click create function. So this is the part where we'll be making the modification here. So I'm gonna input the code. I'm going to pause the video here, input the code, and come back, and I will demonstrate what this code does. All right, so the code is in. So default is the code should be able to read the JSON, and is going to use the Bodo3. This is the Python SDK that allows you to communicate with AWS services using Python. And then we just going for a particular service that this is what we want to connect us to the EC2 services. And now we are filtering our response, that what we want to get it back from this client request. So I'm using this method describe instances and applying the filter, and it'll describe the instances that have the tag value 9 to 6 and the key is hours. And I don't have to print the response, I could just leave it here. So now I'm starting a empty list called instances, and you may have noticed that this is the response that we're gonna get, and I'm selecting the first key of the response that will tell me the length of how many instances it is getting. So then I have a for loop that is gonna go through the loop through and print the instances ID of whatever we get from the response. So once we have those instance IDs, we going to stop those instances, and essentially this is what it does here. So it goes in here, response, client stop, instance IDs. So this is the list it is using. It's going to go through all the instant IDs are listed in here, and it's going to stop those instances. So I have a if statement. It's just more of like you could try and accept. This is more of like, if the list is empty, it's printed out instances not found, otherwise it will execute what we needed it for. So once the code is in, I'm gonna click deploy, and that's it. So my function has been created to stop the instance. So while we're here on the Lambda function, I'm going to create another function that will start my instance, and that function I'm gonna call it start function. And the runtime, again, I'm going to select Python, architecture, leave it default, execution role, I'm going to use EC2 scheduler, and click create function. The code is almost going to be the same what we had it for the stop, but in this case it's just gonna say one thing a little different, which is instead of saying stop, it will say start the instances, and the tag values will be the same. So we will soon define the time frame when, or like, when these functions will get triggered, but the criteria for this function to look for or what to do, it's almost the same. So again, we're gonna deploy it, click save, and boom. And now, one of the most important component is that setting up a schedule that will trigger our function. So we're going to use Event Bridge, Amazon Event Bridge service. Go in here, click on rules, click create rule, and for the first rule I'm going to call it stop instance. Event bus, leave it default, and rule type is going to be a schedule based. Select the schedule and the cron expression. So in my case, I wanted to have a shutdown after like 18, and the day could be any day, month, which means every day, and the day, and so once you input the values in here, the time displays in UTC. If whatever the time zone you're in, you could switch it, and you could see the time, your local time, when the instance will, this particular cron job or event will trigger. So in this case it's 11 p.m. and my local time is at 14:23 at this moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to yeah, this sounds about right, 21, and I wanted to, maybe for testing purposes, I'm going to set it up to 25. So this event will trigger at 2:25. Actually, just leave it default for now, 2:25, and I'm just gonna leave it at default at shutting down at 6 UTC. We'll come back and test it later, and Now select the target, so keep it AWS service, and we're gonna select Lambda function. So select this one, and which function we're gonna use. I'm gonna select the stop function, create next, and create role. So this is the role that will stop the instance. We're gonna quickly create another one that will start the instance, and default schedule, and this one should be 6 in the morning, and month any day of the week, which is pretty much every day, and so 6 a.m. UTC, and it'll trigger every day. Next, target type again is going to be Lambda function. I'm gonna select this one. In this case, it's going to be the start function, and boom. So if I go into my functions, I will see event bridges listed as the, like, the trigger point, or like, that will trigger the Lambda function. So currently they are again set up to UTC time zone, and they will get triggered at the time that we specified. For testing purposes, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna quickly demonstrate you guys the stop and starting instances, and how the function, if the function is working. So as you could see, currently both of my instances are running. I'm going to go to the event bridge, go to the stop instance event, edit it, and my time is 2:26 p.m. at this moment. So I'm going to set this to switch to local time zone, 22, which is okay, 21 and 27. So I'm just gonna set it to this one, 27. Everything leave it default, next, and update function. So I'm just gonna pause the video for like few minutes here, and come back, and we'll look into the when the function get triggered here. I just realized that before I paused the video, I was at the start function. I switched to the stop function, and as you can see here, that the Lambda function was triggered, and I could see it ran successfully. It's not throwing any error message. You could view the log stream, or you could essentially go in here and see if the instances have been stopped. So I'm gonna quickly refresh. So I had a running filter enabled. As you could see, both of these instances have been stopped, and this is about it. So you could, if you want to play around with the setting, just update the cron jobs expression, and you'll be able to adjust the timing and everything. Thanks for watching. I hope you find this tutorial or demonstration useful and be able to use it in your day-to-day practice. If you find it useful and you liked it, please consider subscribing and like the video.